Your first warned weather forecast from meteorologist Jordan Wolfe.
Earlier today we had some light snow move overhead, but we didn't quite have enough moisture down near the surface to allow for that to reach the ground. Now late into the evening we are left underneath that cloud cover that's still in place, and we're starting to see a little bit more widespread precipitation start to develop out to our west and begin to work its way in. Even though we're not really seeing a whole lot with satellite and radar, we are picking up at least the airport observation near Des Moines starting to show some of that freezing rain and freezing drizzle, and that's what's starting to work its way a bit closer. Even though we're not really seeing it too well with radar, you can actually see it a lot better when you look with our visibility. This is where we're seeing some of that really low level cloud cover, the potential for that drizzle, as well as some fog that has developed out to our west and to our southwest. And that's where we're seeing visibility down near or below 2 miles even in some spots. And this is the area that I expect to see some of that freezing rain, freezing drizzle, and that's what's starting to pull a bit closer to the area. Although we are still relatively dry down near the surface, that is what we are going to see move a bit closer as we head over these next few hours. We haven't seen any of our local airport observations report any precipitation just yet, but we are noting a lot of those temperatures are sitting very, very close to, if not back below that freezing mark, which will allow for anything that falls to stick to the surface and potentially see some of that freezing drizzle over the next couple of hours. Our furthest west Mercy Health Skytrack camera out in Freeport, brought to us by the Rockford Career College, still looks dry here at this time, but starting to show a little bit more of that breeze as that weather system pulls a bit closer. I mentioned our dew point temperature is starting to rise a little bit. We're getting a little bit more moisture down near the surface. 20 degrees, the current dew point for our weather watcher Terry in Genoa, reporting a current temperature of 29 degrees. That east-southeast wind around 9 miles per hour. So as we get a little bit more moisture that starts to work toward the surface, that's where we're going to gradually get those precipitation rates that will start to climb and start to see a little bit more of that precipitation reach down toward the surface. Look where our temperatures will be though throughout this entire time. They will remain back below that freezing mark as we see some of that precipitation spread over the area. That will likely occur closer to 6, 7, 8 o'clock for many of us, with at least the steadier rainfall rates that will potentially fall in the form of some freezing rain and freezing drizzle, indicated with that pink color here with Futurecast. We will get a little bit of a lapse in those rates closer to midnight tonight, but likely going to see those slick spots ongoing throughout that time and even going into tomorrow morning until we get some of that moisture that works its way a bit closer and possibly allows for at least a few of those spots to see those temperatures climb back above freezing, and that's where we would get some of that melting to occur tomorrow afternoon. In the short term though, we are still left underneath that winter weather advisory that starts at 6 p.m. for all of northern Illinois, and it runs through tomorrow morning. Depending on location, there's a few variations as far as end times, but nonetheless expect those slick conditions through the evening and overnight hours tonight. Freezing drizzle along with that patchy fog threat, temperature 29 degrees, hovering very close to where we're already at for those overnight lows, only rebounding to around 39 for tomorrow afternoon. That will come with some wind, especially out of the west, gusting to around 35 miles per hour. Our next weather system starts to work its way in toward the weekend, and it will have a pretty similar track as far as where that rain-snow line may set up. This time around, though, likely leaning at least a little bit more on that snow potential. Could see at least the potential for some snow accumulations with that as well, but keeping an eye on that Saturday window, and then temperatures will be dropping back down into the low 20s for highs and teens for lows going into next week.